In the Maoist cult, her father gave her a name, Prem. The irony, it means love.
It was like a brand he had put on me. It's like like a slave, a brand that you put on a slave. It was like saying that I'm his property. Yes.
It's not her name anymore.
The convention with these interviews is that I start by asking your name.
Name is Katie Morgan Davies.
Her father's name, Aravindan Balakrishnan, and today he was sentenced to 23 years in prison for a host of rapes and depraved sexual abuse of cult members. He was also found guilty of false imprisonment and cruelty to a child. The child was Katie. The late 60s, another sit-in at the London School of Economics. Another student radical arrives. Comrade Bala goes on to set up the Maoist Workers' Institute in South London. Over the years, the student radical, though, morphs into dictator deity, the collective into a cult. He surrounds himself with vulnerable women like Sian Davies. They had a child together, Katie.
She wasn't allowed to cuddle me when I was a child. I remember never being cuddled by her. And I remember it was like she tried to compensate for the fact that she was my mum and compensate for that fact by going out of her way to get me into trouble with the cult and to report me to Bala and get me beaten up and to control me and discipline me. And
why? To prove something to Bala?
Yes, to prove that I'm more attached to you than I am to her.
Although she'd found clues in the different houses the cult lived in, her parents didn't tell her they were her parents, even after her mother died. As a child, Katie's job was to take copious notes on Bala's morning lectures. She had no friends. The machinery of Bala's control, violence, and an imaginary mind control entity called Jackie.
Jackie stands for Jehovah, Allah, Christ, Krishna, and immortal Iswara. So,
Did you really believe in all of this?
As a child, yes, because no one else said anything else. Everybody believed in it, and I didn't know anybody who didn't.
Yeah.
Because I had no contact with the outside world at all. So, yes, I did believe in it.
Yeah.
As a child.
So Jackie was his sort of the mechanism that he used to control you all, I guess, to a point.
Yes, I suppose it's like in some cultures you hear about juju and witchcraft and voodoo and things like that.
Yeah.
Jackie was that sort of thing.
Some of the women were abused in the most degrading of ways. Unlike the others, though, Katie was born into this, which made her eventual rejection of it even more remarkable.
It was a gradual process in the sense that I began to see some of his predictions and prophecies didn't come true.
Is that right? Like what?
Okay, there's one example I can give straight away. That I remember in 1992, after the Olympic Games in Barcelona, he said, this is going to be the last Olympic Games. There's no more Olympic Games after this because it's against what his idea for how the world should be. And he kept saying that again and again, that there would not be another Olympic Games. But then in 96, there was.
Yeah.
And again and again.
Do you remember ever pulling him up on any of this?
Oh, no, I wouldn't have dared. If I had, he would have, I wouldn't be sitting here now, I suppose, if I did.
Really?
He was extremely violent. If you challenge him, and then he'll have an answer for everything, no matter how ludicrous, no matter how bizarre, he'll have an answer for everything. And at the point where he does not have an answer, that's when the violence would start, and he'll slap your face, shout abuse at you.
Katie finally escaped from this house. She'd been in the cult for 30 years. Outside court today, Bala's wife, Chandra, on the right, and cult member Josephine Hurrival were standing by their guru.
This is a miscarriage of justice. It's the state taking their revenge. Because we were flourishing in Brixton, where we had our centre.
Can I sorry to interrupt, but that's just nonsense. I mean the judge found your husband and your guru to be a narcissistic, violent rapist.
It's completely wrong. It's completely
How is
wrong.
it?
I was living in the same house. It's completely wrong.
Katie is trying hard to readjust to the real world, but it isn't always easy.
When I try to talk to and work with other people, there feels like an invisible wall between me and them, that they can see me and I can see them, but I can never really connect. It's getting better, and it will get better, but yes, like an outsider. Like there's no point of contact between me and other people.
Yeah, because you've a completely different set of reference points in your life to other people, don't you? Yeah.
Today's news story, how a tyrant got his comeuppance. The other story, how a young woman found it in herself to rebel.
He picked the wrong slave with you, didn't he?
Yes, he did.